So this is just gonna be a brief introduction to those parts, and I can assure you this is really gonna help us in this journey. So let me just go straight to my Photoshop. Here is Photoshop 2020, whichever version you're using, either CC 2017, 2018, or 2019. The menu bar, the standard bar, and the layer panel, the tools panel, they are all on the same. They work the same way, though there has been some few more tools in 2020 version. But don't worry, we are not going to be going into those for now. We're just gonna go to the introduction, and you and I we're gonna work together to it. So right now I'm going to create a new document. I can probably go to file in this is menu bar actually. Then I go to file, click on new, or press Ctrl N on my keyboard as the shortcut, or from this open window I can just click on create new document here. So I'm gonna click here. Either way, it's gonna pop up this dialog box. So this recent is just like the previous template, or should I say settings I've used before. It's gonna pop them up under this recent tab. So probably you saved few of them, like maybe you have a custom presets set, so it's gonna be here. So this are pre-made, pre-installed. I mean, you can see those guys here, but no, I don't need any of this guy. I'm just gonna come here, just name it anything, and just make it menu bar and introduction, like so. I can give it my size. Don't worry, we're still gonna go in depth about on this guy, explaining it better. But this is just for introduction to explain the menu bar, the layer panel bar, and the others. So right now I'm just gonna click on create, because actually we are not working on this particular document right now, just to explain something. So let's continue like so. So if you are opening your Photoshop for the first time, I believe you should be seeing something like this. And if not, don't worry, you're still gonna be on the same pace very soon. So right now, if you look at this top part of your Photoshop, you will see all these guys listed here. So these top guys, these top options that are here, this bar in particular is what we call the menu bar, or should I say what I call menu bar. And we have different options, different spaces here to fill. So right here, the first one being the file, if you click on it like so, looking at the options, the drop down options that are here, you can see you have new. This simply means if you want to create a new document, obviously. The next one is open, and if you take a look at their at a little bit at their front, you can see that they have few command options there, like shortcut. So you can see the shortcut to open a new document in Photoshop. Unlike most other applications too, they almost have the same thing. So you have Control N for new, you have Control O for open. At least if you want to open a document you've once worked on before. And you have browse in Bridge. Don't worry, we are not gonna touch that right now. So open as, maybe when you want to open anything, and you have open as smart objects. Don't worry, all these guys we're still gonna be using them later on other videos that I'll be posting. So open recent, if assume you did few works here in Photoshop and you save them or stuff like that, here in your recent option, you see this arrow, this option being active, and this arrow will list those names here. So you have closed document, this in particular, closed all, probably you open different tabs, but don't worry, we're still gonna talk about that. And close and go to bridge. A lot of options are here. The best is just go alongside with me and see for yourself. move around and get to understand these guys yourself. Just see how they are being arranged and things like that. Just get used to it. Now export, probably you add something done here already and you want to save it, so you can export as PNG, export as other options. Later on we're going to be explaining few of this guy needed, generate and others like so. And you have your exit button here if you want to exit Photoshop itself. So but don't worry. So that is just for the file menu. Moving to the next menu, which is the edit. You can see you have undo here. That is, maybe let's just quickly do something here. You're gonna pick up this tool, the rectangle tool. If you mouse over your mouse, you see rectangle tool. Shortcut is U. So I'm just gonna draw, click and drag, click from anywhere and drag. As you can see, don't worry, all these guys will still be explained later on in the course. So I'm gonna leave my mouse right now, and as you can see, I have created a rectangle filled with black. Of course, I can change the color if I want to, but right now I don't want to walk us through those process because that is not what we want to do right now. So right now I just created a rectangle, so I can create another one. Let me deselect this guy, create another one, change that color just for this, just to show us something. I'm gonna change the color. Remember, this is 60-20-20. In your own version you might not have this guy, but you're gonna have something similar for you to change the color. So I'm gonna go for the red, and I'm just gonna pick my move tool and move out of that guy. So right now I have two stops here. And if you look at the layer panel, which I'm still gonna explain later, you can see that these two guys that I just drew, they are right here, and they are file, or should I say their icon, they are here also. I can easily select them via this guy or come in here and select it here. So right now I did two, let me say three, because when I did this, when I drew it, it was in black. I changed the color to red, you can see. And the best way to see that is checking your history. You can see the history. I had new, rectangle 2, set, shape layer fill. You can see all the options I've done. Now right now I want to try to understand. I'm trying to explain this undo. See all these things I've done, it's been recorded here. So if I want to undo this, it's either I press Ctrl Z or Command Z, Ctrl Z like so. You can see it was here before. It's undo what I did. And if you check your history log, you're gonna see that we've moved backward from this guy here. So right now that is undo for you. So now I go to edit again. You can see redo the move, I undo. Now I want to redo it. I can easily press Shift Ctrl Z. Remember we press Ctrl Z at first, so I can redo again, move back to where we were. Now coming back to edit, we have other options here in edit: fade, cut, copy. And if you check the front, you can always see their shortcut. Make sure you put that in mind, but don't worry about the shortcut for now. Just know where those commands are here in the menu bar. So right now we have others: search, check spelling, that is if you're working with text, and find and replace text, fill, stroke. Don't worry, we have a lot of stuff here that we're still gonna walk through, but I just want to, this is just an introduction to this particular menu bar. Now the image, we have mode. You can easily change anything from this. Remember, this is RGB. You can change it back to down image mode. Coming to image again, mode, and different options are here that are really handy for us. Now adjustment also, you can see we have brightness level and other options, especially if you're editing photo, or even after you are done with any design, probably banner design, flyer, and you want to change the level, you want to change the exposure, the tone. That's just the finishing adjustment to any of your design. These guys are all handy, as in they are really good. There is also this option of auto tone, auto contrast, and auto color. This actually automatically add tone, add contrast to any of your document you're working with. And you can also change the image size, canvas size. We're still gonna work on these guys one by one later on. and rotation, of course, trim, review, or duplicate, and a lot of it like so. Now moving on to the layer menu, you can see you can create a new layer from here. You can see the command Shift Control N. That's the create new layer. I'm gonna explain that later on. Copy CSS, don't worry about that. Copy SVG and delete. A lot of options here. New field, new anything you want to do. We want to create a new layer, and you want other should I say commands to come out with it. So a lot of things are here. Make sure you just come around here and play with it. Just scroll around and press anything, see how it works, and just remember this is just an introduction, so I'm not actually expecting everybody to get this at a go, as in now. So it's just an introduction for you to see this as a menu bar. So moving on to the type option, we have of course the type more like the text. Now more from Adobe Fonts. If you want to import more fonts online, don't worry about that right now. We're going to install custom fonts ourselves. Now panels, you want to open panel, you have character panel, paragraph. If I click on character panel, you see it's kind of open for me right now. So clicking that now, you can see character panel has been opened. Now I'm moving forward. We are still on type. Okay, it's loading my fonts. You know, I just opened my Photoshop just like it's just installed. So opening it is still gonna load all what I have on my computer. Currently it's loading my font. Actually I have a lot of fonts here, like thousands of them. Not only 1,000, maybe it's over 1,000 anyway. So it's gonna try to load all the 1,000 fonts right now, and after it's loaded, it's now gonna continue. You can see it has been loaded, and here I have my React Pro mostly. And if I click on this drop down arrow, I have other fonts that I have on my computer available here in Photoshop. So I'm not going to that right now. So we are still explaining this menu bar, and we are on type. It's loading it actually, so it's gonna take a few seconds for it to pop up. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna leave that right now. Click outside, minimize this. Now we are still on type. So I just open character panel. I can also open paragraph panel and other panels, which you're still going to explain when we are talking about type as a tool in Photoshop. Now I'm in text anyway. We have other options here. Just have to play around them and see how they work. Moving on to select. So as the name sound, you can easily, when you select anything, let me just select one file here. So I can come to select. You want to select all what is on the canvas, or you want to deselect, or you want to reselect anything. So from here now you can see that you have a lot of options, like if you select anything or for selecting anything. But don't worry, when we get to selection as a topic, or should I say selection tools are here also actually. So when we get to them, we get to explain more about these guys here. So that's about select as in menu bar. So moving on to the next tab, which is the filter. You can see the filter here. We're still gonna have this as a separate topic on its own, because it's wide. Generally all these things will be saying they are more than this, as in really more. So this is just an introduction, so I don't really want to go deeper into them. So right now we're on filter. You can convert to smart filter. Don't worry, I understand most of us didn't really understand what this guys means, but don't worry, we're still gonna explain everything later on as we go. So filter gallery, it has gallery, you know, a lot of options to select. Adaptive wide array angle, don't worry about those guys right now. Liquify, we're still going to talk about it also. And there are a lot of options here that you can apply on anything here on your Canva. So we have 3D. I don't know if you sure have it actually, and if you don't, you can also just let me know if you don't have it, so I will have to understand the kind of the version of Photoshop you're using and how to get that done. But don't worry, we are not talking about 3D here for now. Actually, we are still going to design custom 3D. We are not generating, because I believe with this 3D of a thing, you need some computer that are kind of that are high in specs. You get what I'm trying to say? Specs, I mean like your RAM, your if you have video RAM, you have external hard drive or SSD, just to make your computer faster while rendering anything like this. Alright, so moving from there to view option, you can view like are you viewing in CMYK or Skyam palette plate only. You can see you can select anything here, like you can work on them on a different layer, but here we're working on them all together. So don't worry about this, don't touch anything here actually. And you can actually play around it. We can always reset all these guys to default later on. So we have proof colors, and these guys, I'm not sure, maybe you guys will have this option in other versions of Photoshop, I mean the lower versions, because this is particularly 2020. So if you don't have it, don't worry, we are not really moving on, we are not going to talk much on these guys, not even at all, but don't worry, as we move on you get to understand each other clearly. So you can always change the ratio, the view of your document, but don't worry, we are not really going there right now. You can zoom in, zoom out, fill on screen, lot of options, and you can see the command command key to them, like control and your plus like so. You can view 100%, control 1, 200% or more. You can snap to guidelines, and we're still going to explain everything later on in this course. So moving on to the next option, which is window. You can arrange your window. Do you want it to be tile, vertical to vertical, up to vertical, like so? And we are not touching this guy right now, but you can play around them and see how it works. Now workspaces, we're still going to talk about workspaces because we're still going to create our own custom workspace and save it, so that we are going to bring in the tools we're going to be using in particular. So we're not just gonna have a lot of tools here we're not using and make the windows look like alpha. Anyway, let's just continue. So these are just workspaces. You can just click around them and see. You can see I just click on graphics, gonna change how it appears. If I come again to Windows workspace again, workspace, you can see I can click on motion, so it's gonna open up the should I say recommended workspace for anything like so. So coming here again, I will change it back to essential, which is the default workspace, so that you and I can be in the same view. Now that's that about workspace. We are coming here again, an extension. Don't worry, we are not going to work on this. We are working fully here in Photoshop default. Now we have actions. We are still going to talk about these actions and adjustment, everything like so. We're on all these guys here. From this option, if you click them, their icon will be revealed here. So for example, if I click on character, it's already here. If I come to window again, character style, you can see another, the icon is here already. So it's gonna be easy for me next time if I want to go to that window. Instead of me coming here to window and clicking, I'll just head on here and pop it up like so. So now from there you have gradient, you have other tools here you can always click on, but don't worry, you can just play around them. You can also move them, but we're still coming back here to explain this side. So, and you have help here, and this help menu, you don't really need to check anything here. Don't worry, just leave it. Now that is that about the menu bar in short. Actually, I hope you get something. The best option is just move around it, see how they really works, like click around, check around, just spend little time here so that you get used to it a little, and as we move on you get to understand better. So from here you're going to move on to the next one, which is the tool bar. And it's mostly by default be on the left side. So in other words, I can say the left menu, maybe. All right. So originally by default it was like this. I don't know how yours looks anyway, but if you click this little arrow pointing to the right hand side, if you click on it, it's going to extend it and make it 2 columns. All right, so we are here again. This is left menu, and it's also your tool. It's all the standard tool. And looking at it here, the first one here is the move tool. And if you hover your mouse on it, you're gonna see this pop up telling you the name of the tool and also the shortcut to the tool. It's always in bracket, and that means the shortcut to this move tool is V. Over our mouse again, you can see it's V. It says move a selection or layer. So for example, currently we are on move tool, and you can see the icon. You can see it as it's moving, or should I say my mouse pointer to you, but here in Photoshop it's the move tool, and it has this 4 cardinal sign, should I say, or icon beside it. Now these are layers. You can see these are layers in Photoshop, so I'm using the move tool to select them, the one I want. If I select this, I can move it around by clicking and dragging. I can move it around. If I don't want this again, I want to go with this, I will click it and also use the move tool to move it around, just as the name implies, the move tool. Move on to the selection tool, the tool next to it, which is the selection tool. And if you check it very well, you're gonna see that we have this rectangle with a broken line. If I click on it, click anywhere, drag just the way you created the rectangle at first, you can see how it is. It's actually a selection tool. So anything that any area that it covers, it selects it automatically. And also there's an option to select anything around it, not anything that it actually covers. Don't worry, we're gonna explain that later on. And this move tool, the shortcut is M. If you hover your mouse to it, you can see rectangle marquee tool, which also is the marquee tool, which also is the selection tool. You can see we have others here. We have one of rectangle, we have one of ellipse, we have one of single row and single column, but the most used are the ellipse and the rectangle. Alright, so from there we can easily select anything. I can move it around while still on the move tool. I can move it, select this guy here. So here that I select, I can duplicate it, like cut out this area that I select. How do I do that? I can just, as I hold it, first of all, I'm gonna select the area here, or let me just copy, Ctrl C, and I can just create a new layer, or instead of creating a new layer, press Ctrl V. Deselect the area first, go to your move tool. Remember to select this move tool, not the artboard tool. Create a new layer and press Ctrl V, or come to edit, paste. Okay, let me reselect again. Coming back here, rasterize this layer. Coming back to the selection tool, select this area, come to the edit, copy, and after that, coming here, remember to deselect. And how do you deselect? Come to select and deselect. After that, make sure you are on this layer and press Ctrl V. I'll up this layer, or should I say, let me move it back to move tool by pressing V on your keyboard. Select this guy and move it out. This was the layer we copied and pasted, as you can see. But don't worry, as we continue, we get to work more on this, and we're going to be using all these tools. We are still going to explain each of these tools one after the other later on. So this guy is the lasso tool. It's also used for selection. You can just click and the area you want, let me just select Ctrl D. You can click and this more or less like a transform free tool in selection, and just join it, and the area you selected there, Ctrl D. We have other tools like polygon lasso, magnetic lasso. From there we have this option, but I'm not gonna like talk about this because not all of us have this version of Photoshop. But if you have Windows 10 installed on your computer, you can actually go for Photoshop 2020. It's really good. It's a good upgrade actually. So we have this crop tool here, and we have the shortcut key to be C. So the crop tool, as the name implies, you can crop your canvas, and from there, clicking on this guy, like okay, let me press escape key to undo that, or to cancel that. Back to my move tool, pressing V on your keyboard. So from there we have this option here, but I'm not gonna touch this because it's a new tool actually. So we have the eyedropper tool, and the shortcut key is I. The eyedropper tool actually pick colors. Pick this color. You can see this guy. You can see. You can also come here, select different color, or come to swatches, select different color with the eyedropper tool, as you can see. But don't worry about that. So just know the eyedropper tool is used to pick colors like so. So I'm gonna go back to this black. Anyway, we have other options of eyedropper tool. We have rulers, and we have notes, and we have others. Don't worry, we're gonna explain the ones we really need here. So we have spot healing, the healing tools in general. We have spot healing, we have healing brush tool, we have patch, and we have others here. Red eye tool, red eye remover, content aware move tool, and a lot here. And also we have the brush tool. The shortcut is B. We have the brush, and we have different options of brushes like that. Press click to open this dialog box. You can select the brush you want, and what brush, as the name actually implies, you can increase the size and more like so. You can see that is just brush, like painting. I will do that by pressing Ctrl V. Now we have other options of brushes. We have pencil, like drawing. We have color replacement, and we have mixer brush tool also. We're going to talk about that later on. We have the next one, which is the clone stamp tool and pattern stamp. The clone stamp, we can clone a particular area, like copy it, and we can stamp it, or should I say paste it, or replace it on another particular area we want. We're going to explain each of these two one by one later on. And the next one, which is the brush tool, the history brush tool and art history brush tool, we're going to explain that too. And the eraser tool, as the name implies, it erases anything. You can see it erases anything. Now the next is the gradient tool. You can see we have paint bucket, we have this guy. We can always like fill the canvas with different kind of gradients. A lot of options like so, but right now this is not what we want to do. So we have other options like this. You can just play around it and see how they work. Now I'm going to undo this, coming to the select area. We have the next one, which is the blur tool. We have other options of blur. So if you click on this blur tool, as the name implies, it will blur some particular area. Let me zoom in. Let me zoom into this guy, so you can see that the blur tool actually works. You can see how sharp these edges were. So when I kind of use the blur tool to try and blur it out, let me increase the strength to 100%, like so. Let me change the brush to add one, and am I selecting? Okay, I'm not selecting it, so you can see I can blur it out. So that's just blur tool. And we have sharpen, we have smudge also. So this is smudging, you can see. Anyway, we're still gonna use that later on in the course. So we have this dodge tool, bond tool, other tools here. We're gonna talk about. It's not actually viewing right now. We have, it actually works for intense color like so. And we have pen tool, and this pen tool is a great tool actually for any graphic artist, because it's, should I say, it actually works to create custom shapes like anything. So far we're going to be working with shapes, color, text, and a lot of arrangement like that. So the pen tool is another great tool, and the shortcut to that is P on your keyboard. So when I select the pen tool, I can easily start my custom shape drawing. This is the first point, clicking and dragging, and also a lot of it like so and like that. We have all these vertices like so. But don't worry, we are not here to explain pen tool, but we're still going to talk about it later on. If you click down, you have other options of the pen tool that are actually great for us. So I'm going to undo this guy to something like that. Let me delete this guy too. Okay, now the next tool is the text. Shortcut is T. So when I press it like so, if I click anywhere to start my text, I can easily text in the Photoshop like so, and you can see the font. Let me zoom back, alternate plus my mouse scroll wheel. You can see Photoshop. I can change the font, like coming to this property, select it, and character. Instead of this guy, let me change to something disable. I'm gonna select. Okay, here we are. So I can always change the color of a lot of it. So that is the text tool. Also, if you click down, you can see other options for the text tool. So you can play around with it and see how they work. And we have the selection tool as well. Path selection and direct selection tool. So this guy, which is the path, if I click on this vector file, let me zoom back to my move tool, select the rectangle tool. Actually, it has been rasterized, so there's no node for me to select, but we're still gonna use it later on in the course. And we have this shape tool, the rectangle tool, rounded rectangle, ellipse, polygon, and the custom shapes. You can always come around here, play around with it, pressing down your shift or control or anything, just to see how they work. So I'm going to undo this guy right now because I'm not using it right for now. And you can see the and tool shortcut is H. It's actually great. When I press this, I can easily move my workspace around. You can move and just throw. You see. So it's actually good to play around with Photoshop. Sometimes it's fun. So that's the and tool, and we have rotate view. Also, you can rotate your workspace by 360. You can see. So I'm just gonna undo that. I don't need. Oh, sorry. Let me zoom back so that I can see. So I will rotate, press down my shift key for it to snap back. Now we are there, and we have the zoom tool. Click and drag, or just by clicking one by one, or click and hold and drag like so. And we have others like that. You can always come here, zoom in, zoom out options, use my hand tool to move my workspace, press my V to move back to my move tool. And here we have the color, the foreground color and the main color. You can see color picker, it pops up after I click on it. I can always change the color, click on OK, and it changed. And I have this background color as well. You can see you can change anything around, and I can always switch between them, like clicking this arrow, click, and it will switch. And if I want to go back to black and white, I can easily click on this to go back to the both foreground and background color. And as well, I can always shift, or by pressing Shift X as a shortcut. But don't worry about that. We're still gonna work together, so it's gonna be part of us later on. So moving here, we have different view, screen mode, standard, full screen, like so. You can see a few things are gone. The shortcut is F, remember. So full screen, you can see. He said if I want to go back, I can press the escape or F. You can see using my hand, I can move it. I mean my hand too. That's H as shortcut. My V move to, and if I want to move out of this full screen mode, so that I press my escape or press F again. So the fastest is the escape key for me. So it's gonna get it back to default view. Now that is that about the left menu, or should I say the tool panel. Now, and also I can move it around by clicking like so, clicking this particular point, moving it, I can change the position, but I would like it to be here as it was. So right now, that is that. So before I go, I would actually like to explain this standard bar. Remember, we explained the menu bar at first, so this is standard bar. So this standard bar actually have different, should I say, different options. Yeah, different options of any tool you pick at all, any tool you want to use here in Photoshop. The option related to that tool, things that the tool can do, those options will be there on standard bar. So right now I'm on move tool. You can see it's blank. It's blank because few of it are actually visible, like I can auto select like so. And if I click on this guy, you can see, or if I select two options, two guys together by clicking and dragging, you can see other ones are also available. Before they weren't available to be clicked, like they were gray out. If I deselect all of it, you can see that they were gray out. But if I select two options by clicking and dragging, I select them, this is just alignment. If I click this, it's gonna align those two guys selected together. So this is the standard bar, and if I come to my selection tool, you can see it changes. If I come to my lasso tool, you can see it changes. If I come to my crop tool, you can see it changes, because all these options that are here, they are unique to this particular tool that's been selected. So if I come to pick eyedropper tool, you can see it changes, the standard bar changes. If I come to the clone stamp tools, you can see the standard bar also changes. So all these options are actually unique to this particular tools selected. So if I pick anything here, you can see the standard bar will be changing for different things I can do, different options that are available for that particular tools that I selected. So that is the standard bar for you. So we're going to be making use of it most of the time after we select anything at all. So you should pay attention to that too. So I'm gonna reduce this. So moving on to the last one, which is the right menu. Here in right menu, we have a lot of things here. So I'm actually going to remove this guy because they were the votes. I'm gonna remove this guy. I don't need it for now. And this library, I'm gonna remove it also. So we have these options here. We have these panels here, and we have other ones here. Remember, all these were the ones that we actually selected here. If I click on another one, it's gonna pop up. So right now, we have color, we have swatches, we have swatches tab, we have gradient tab, pattern tab. I don't know if these guys are here in yours, but if they are not there, don't worry. You can always come to your window and find them here. We have swatches here, we have gradients here, we have patterns here. So when you click on them, they're gonna pop up, as you can see. So right now, these guys, we can actually resize it. If you move your mouse a little bit, you can see it changes. You can see that arrow pointing up and down. If I click down and hold and move to the top or down, you can see I can easily shrink this option, giving room for other panel. So the panel that we're going to be using mostly is actually this layer panel here. You can see this layer panel. Actually, we're going to be using it, or should I say 99% of all the time we're going to be using this layer panel, because this layer panel encompasses all what are on this document workspace. So right now we have channel tab, we have parts tab. Don't worry, we're not going to go into that for now, but we're still going to explain that later on as we go. So right now, this is the layer. We have this layer for the Photoshop test we typed. You can see the test icon indicating that it's a test. We have this layer. Actually, it has been rasterized. It was actually a rectangle. Let me draw a new shape too. Click and drag. So as you can see that we have this shape. If you see, look at how the icon is here. When you see this, you can see these nodes. That indicates that it's a shape too. I'm gonna go back. Actually, it is filled with white. If If I double click here, I can change the color. But if I just come again, select the tool, come to the standard bar, click on the fill and change to another color I want, you can see it's been changed. So I'm gonna press V or press this first icon to go back to my selection tool. So you can see this guy and different layers are here. You can always move them around. You can play around with it, but later on we're gonna explain how they work. Now you can always rearrange your workspace. But in the next video, I'm going to explain how we can rearrange our workspace and create a custom workspace for ourselves that we're going to be using throughout this course. So that'll be it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you actually get something out of this particular video. I know, it's more or less, I want to make this video to be like a beginner course, and I'm trying to come down to that level. So that was why, if you kind of experience any little break one way or the other, but the point is, I just want us to get how to navigate around Photoshop. Just associate yourself with it, move to the menu bar, play around with it, move to the left menu, the right menu, the tool panel, everything. Just play around, do anything, just do anything. It's just to familiarize yourself with it, nothing else. Because as you do so, you get to see new things, and from there it sticks to your memory. So thank you again, and if you find it useful one way or the other, just please like the video, and you can subscribe to follow up with the next episode we'll be coming up with. So thank you again. I'll see you.